This is the Sony A7 IV and it's the best camera I've ever owned, but I'm still gonna complain about it. There are a lot of reviews about this camera out there and also comparison towards other cameras and all the technical specifications and all that. So I'm not gonna go into that much in this video. I just want to tell you my user experience after using it for 18 months. Let's start with how it feels in the hand. Many people think that it's too small and that the grip is too tiny. I like the grip and I like that it's small and lightweight. That means that I will bring it more often, and if I bring my camera, I will take photos. If I don't bring my camera, I won't take any photos. I also like the angle of the grip because it's easy to carry the camera when walking in a city, for example. The customization of the camera is okay. All the buttons, wheels, knobs and so on are located in good positions. Maybe I would like a button on the front as well, but that's just being picky. A genius thing that Sony did is this switch where you can switch between photo, video and S&Q, and you have 3 custom settings for each category, which makes life so much easier. We have a flip-out screen, which is really good, really handy. You can take photos from different angles, you can vlog with it and so on, but the screen itself is not very good. Come on, Sony, you make world-class TVs. Surely you can make a better screen than you have on this camera. The resolution isn't good enough. The brightness isn't good enough, the contrast isn't good enough. It's very hard to see if you've captured a good picture or not. I use the EVF, which is much better. That is not excellent either, but it's much better than the screen. So if I've taken a picture, I look in the EVF to see if the picture is good or not. I'm not gonna talk so much about the video except that it's excellent. You have a lot of different settings. You have 10-bit color, S-Log2, S-Log3 and my favorite S-Cinetone. I S S-Cinetone 95% of the time. If I'm in a very high contrasty scene like a landscape, then I change to S-Log3 so I can adjust the shadows and highlights more in post-production, but S-Cinetone works flawlessly 95% of the time. It looks great. And I don't mind that it's a crop at 60 frames per second in 4K. I'm glad that I have 60 frames per second in 4K and 120 in 1080, all with 10-bit colors. So I have nothing to complain about there either. If you're gonna do video with the highest resolution, you need very fast SD cards. I've gone for these cards. These are Sony Tough cards, V60. These can do every video setting in the camera except 1 or 2, which I don't need. Fortunately, they have changed the menu system from previous cameras, so now it's okay. It's not flawless, it's not perfect, but it's much better than it used to be. One thing that annoys me is that if you want to make a custom setting 1, 2 and 3, then you have to go into the photo or video menu to set those, not in the customization menu of the camera, which took a while for me to learn, but now I know it, and when I know it, it's not going to be a problem. The autofocus is among the best in the world. Maybe newer cameras like the A7R Mark V and also newer Canon and Nikon Z9 are a little bit better, but this autofocus is still extremely good. So if you come from an older camera, you won't be disappointed at all. It's very, very accurate and it's very, very sticky, both for video and photo. I also think that 33 megapixels, which this camera have, is a sweet spot. The file size is big but not humongous, and I'm able to crop 30% of my picture and still have 20 megapixels in the frame. A few other things that annoys me. Let's start with the hot shoe. The hot shoe have a digital connector for flash, of course, but also for microphones and such. So you can put a digital microphone on the hot shoe without cabling and the audio goes directly into the camera. But it's very sensitive to dust and moist. So if you get moist here, you can get an error message saying that this accessory isn't compatible with the camera, and then you can't take any photos. So this hot shoe cover should be with you in all times and especially all weathers. I should probably order a couple more of these so I will never be without one. Another thing is that this sensor, a really good sensor of course, it takes fabulous photos, is a magnet for dust. I haven't had a camera that attracts dust as much as this camera, which is most visible from f8 and up, but still, fortunately it's very easy with a blower to get rid of the dust, but still it annoys me that it attracts dust so much. One more thing is the burst rate. Come on, it's 2023, 6 frames per second. We were at 6 frames per second 15 years ago. This camera should have at least the double. Yeah, you can get more if you do compressed RAW. I think it's 10 or 12 frames per second, but still it's too little. You should be able to shoot full RAW at least 12 frames per second in these days. I know that Sony want to separate that function for their faster cameras like the A9 or A1, but 6 frames per second? Come on. Let's end with some positives. We have no recording limit for video. I can record forever with this camera without overheating. Well, forever, as long as the SD card and the battery is not empty, I can record video. And that is one reason why I went into the Sony system, is because of that. Because I work as a musician and sometimes I want to capture my performances. I can just put the camera on a stand and press record and record the whole show without that 30 limit recording time that most manufacturers have. I also like that you have an option of lenses. You have great lenses from Sony, but also from Sigma, Tamron, Samyang, Viltrox, and so on. That means that you are more flexible in choosing lenses according to price and quality compared to other manufacturers. Because it's so small and lightweight, it's very easy to balance on a gimbal, for example, if you use that. And the battery life is excellent. I use both Sony batteries, but I also have third-party batteries, and they all work great. Maybe the Sonys last a little bit longer, but the difference is so minimal it doesn't matter. When I'm out traveling, I always have an extra battery in my bag, but I rarely use it because I can take photos a whole day with only one battery, which is excellent. To summarize, this is a really good camera. It captures great images, which is the most important thing. It has fantastic autofocus, it has a good battery life, 2 card slots, lots of in and outs with HDMI, USB-C, headphones, microphones, and so on. The custom bottoms are okay, but the genius thing is this switch between photo, video, and S&Q, so you can have 9 custom settings directly on the front of the camera. 3 for photo, 3 for video, and 3 for S&Q. If I would change a couple of things to make it even better, I would change that it could do a faster burst rate in RAW, and also that the back screen would be better. Otherwise, I'm very happy with it. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Tell me in the comments.